Hello everyone, welcome to TPG's world. It's me, TPG. It is day 2 of October and also day 2 of what they call Vlogtober. So what I'm going to do is, because I didn't do a video yesterday because I wanted to combine day 1 and day 2 together, because this video is probably going to be a little lengthy, so I decided instead of doing 2 parts, I just start on the second day and combine the 2 together and try to get through Vlogtober. I successfully did this one time. The second time I think I gave up halfway through, but I'm going to try this time. But we're going to talk a lot about some issues in this video, so I hope you'll stick with me, because it's probably going to be one of the longest videos I've ever made, but it's going to be full of a lot of information, a lot of personal things about me, some really things that you're going to want to know about me and learn about me, etc, etc, etc. So let's get started. First of all, if you are new to my channel, welcome and thank you for being here. If you are returning, thank you for sticking by me, and I'm about to give you an explanation as to what some things that have been going on and all of that kind of stuff, so that you kind of get a better understanding of everything with me, because there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, I started my channel in 2015. Around that time, I came onto YouTube. I decided I wanted to make this channel. I wanted to be a vlogger. I wanted to be part of the vlogging community. I was too lazy to type all the time and to basically write a novel about my life, so I said, let me make a video. Let me start vlogging online. So vlogging was my thing. I wanted to make a video. I wanted to talk about my food addiction. I wanted to talk about the things I had went through with my abuse, both physical and sexual abuse. I wanted to talk about the things that had happened to me in my past. I wanted to kind of be a channel to talk about things that could maybe help people and to give people a better understanding and maybe reach out to people. Not only that, but also being gay, I wanted to be able to maybe inspire people and help people come out of the closet, or be somebody that people could look up to, or whatever. I just wanted to make a difference and to matter a little bit. I wanted to share my stories with people, and that way whenever I do leave this earth, there was something to remember me by. In the meantime, I met some amazingly wonderful people on YouTube. I became incredibly happy with the people I had met. All over the world I met these amazing people. But when I first started, I was in a group, and somebody became very jealous of me, and they started trying to attack me. They started trying to put troll accounts on me. They got some people to try to dox me. I was doxed. I've been doxed twice. And when people doxed me, they found out that everything I've said is true. I do, all this stuff. I mean, this person went from everything saying I didn't really work in a school, I worked somewhere else, and blah, blah. And of course people found out everything was true, that there was no trash on me. I've never been in trouble. I've just been who I am. And so there was no reason to dox me, no reason to go into that, because I don't hide anything. I don't have anything to hide. Excuse me guys, I'm with my cat in. I don't have anything to hide. It was just me, myself, and I. And so with that being said, I got attacked the first time, and then they kind of faded away. So then I continued on making videos, and what happened when I began to make videos was I got so nervous of what I could say online, because I was so scared of getting attacked again and things being used against me, because there's some hateful people on YouTube, and there's some hateful people who like to hold stuff against people on YouTube. So with that being said, I started really kind of becoming different than what I had wanted my channel to be. I was reviewing movies, I was reviewing TV shows, which I love doing. I was doing live streams, I was having this great time, and all of a sudden, before I realized it, YouTube was consuming so much of my life. I remember one day I spent probably 18 hours on YouTube just trying to watch people's videos. I was making videos, I was doing live streams, I was going to live streams, I was appearing in people's live streams, and it was just going on, going. And then all of a sudden, everywhere I went, I was filming my life, which was fun, and I enjoyed it. And then my friends started kind of getting and lashing out at me a little bit. They were like, hey, when we go places, you're always doing YouTube, and you don't really talk to us, and we don't get to see you, we don't get to talk to you, you're always talking to people. So I had to kind of choose a few things. So anyway, I kept doing it. I kept making YouTube. I started meeting these amazing people from all around the world. I loved meeting people. I was exchanging letters with people, cards with people. Things were going good. But my channel was getting further and further and further away. The stuff I wanted to talk about, I still wasn't able to. I got this reputation of being this super incredibly nice guy, which I am in real life. I've been nothing but who I am in real life on YouTube. The only thing I didn't do was I did not talk about the deep things I wanted to talk about, my depression, my abuse, and things like that, because I was scared to. I was really afraid to talk about that. So I was, all of a sudden, I got attacked again by somebody. I jumped in and helped somebody with a situation, or thought I was helping, got involved where I should have probably got involved. And when that happened, I got attacked again. I ended up putting all my videos on pause and holding them down because I wanted to make sure that I could go to YouTube and find out how I could keep my videos from being played on other channels. Went and talked to a lawyer and all that kind of stuff, figured out how to do that, came back to YouTube again. And by the time I came back, by this time I had lost some views and stuff because I hadn't been around for about a month. I took about a month off. And when I took a month off, guys, I was really, really kind of like happy because by this time I was so wrapped up in YouTube. It was like I spent hours a day on YouTube, and I was making videos. I was communicating with people all the time, talking to people. I just loved being a part of the community, but I wasn't really a part of any certain community. I had tried to reach out to different communities. I was, in the drama community. I was in the vlogger community. I was in any community I could reach myself and get myself into. I loved just getting to know other people on YouTube. So I came back again, made more videos, started again, kept trying to say, I'm going to come back to what I want to be. I'm going to come back to what I want to be. I'm going to come back to what I want to be. Well, then we're going to get into what happened. So as you know, my dad was sick and things like that. And I just wanted to I wanted to share more with people. I met some amazing people. I was friends with some people. I was doing some shows with some amazing people. I'm not going to mention names because I don't know if those people want me to mention their names. They're good people. They're wonderful people. But I love them, and I loved being a part of them, and being a part of their shows and doing shows with them and talking to them, and just the things that these people would do for me and the friendships that I had with these people. Even still, I have friendships with some amazing people. But then what happened after that was I found myself again making all these videos, doing all of this wonderful stuff, and I loved it. It became my happy place. But then all of a sudden, guys, this pandemic hit. Now, this is where it gets complicated. I started working at the school I'm at now, and I was working with somebody who set my anxiety off in a different way. And I've always battled depression, I've always battled anxiety, I've always battled things like that. I was medicated years ago, and then I kind of got off of it, I kind of faded out of it. And I said, I'll just, do it myself. Well, what happened was I would disguise my anxiety or my depression through food and sex. I had an addiction to food and sex, and so I gained a lot of weight. And when things got complicated or I got depressed, I would eat. That's why I constantly was eating ice cream, cookies, things like that. And then all of a sudden, that's how I started learning to cope with things. Or I was just like, I don't want to talk about the sex addiction right now because I'm going to talk about that later in another video. But that was my biggest issue, was my weight. I was going from a teenager who battled bulimia, which I talked about in a video recently, a while back. I talked about my eating disorder as a teenager, which YouTube didn't really like that video. I don't know why. To all of a sudden me now being the largest and biggest I've ever been as a person. So with that being said, I was literally battling this thing, and along comes this pandemic. Now, when this pandemic started, and we had to wear masks, for those of you that don't know, I am severely claustrophobic. When I go to a restaurant or I have to sit on the end in a booth, I can't sit against the wall. When I go to a movie theater, I have to sit in the aisle. I cannot sit anywhere against a wall. When I go to the theater to see a play, I have to have a seat on the end. I just cannot be closed in anywhere. It freaks me out. Even my desk at school, I have to be able to get out at least one side. My bed is pushed in the middle of my room so I can get out on either side. I just don't like to feel closed in. It's a very scary feeling for me to be closed in. Well, with that being said, when this pandemic hit and I started all of a sudden, sorry guys, I'm always putting lotion on my hands. Well, lotion is hands. I always put lotions on my hands during this videos and stuff because I get uncomfortable sometimes, and I'm learning to deal with that. So anyway, this pandemic hit. I started having to wear a mask, and all of a sudden it triggered something in me. I don't know what it was. At first, I didn't understand it, and it started triggering, and I started spiraling into this really crazy place. And I started having to seek help. So I said, I got to get some help. I'm having these panic attacks. I was having like 4 and 5 panic attacks a day. I was flipping out. I was going through all these changes. And so I started going to a therapist who was wonderful. Her name was Mary. Mary was amazing. Mary started helping me. And I started seeing another woman who was giving me medication. Well, come to find out, I was diagnosed as PTSD, ADHD, Duh, you guys couldn't tell that. I was also diagnosed as bipolar and manic depressive. So this is what I was diagnosed with, and my depression was at its all-time high by this time. My dad was sick. I was having trouble with my siblings. All of this was going on around me. School was crazy. I was calling in sick all the time to Target. I was calling in sick to the school. I was just spiraling worse and worse and worse. So I started taking these medications. I started feeling better at times. And then all of a sudden, she would change it. It was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all these chemicals in my body. And last school year, my principal didn't know what to do with me. Nobody knew, because I became almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It became a really crazy whirlwind. One day I was fine, the next day I was crying. Nobody knew what I was going through. So I had to finally sit down with my principal and explain to her what was going on and where I was at. And I explained to a teacher I work with and people that I knew that what was really going on with me, because I needed them to know, because I don't think people understood. People did not understand how much wearing a mask really affected me. But see, here's why. I was wearing it all day at school, which you think I'm at school 7.5 to 8 hours a day. And at the time, Target had me scheduled 25 to 35 hours a week. So I was working almost 70 hours a week, wearing a mask. And I would leave school at like 3, run home, let my dogs out, change clothes, go to work at Target between 4 and 5, wear a mask for anywhere from another 6 to 5 hours. So I was wearing a mask for a long period of time a day. Somebody who has severe claustrophobia, who's PTSD, I was having these meltdowns, these panic attacks. I remember falling on the floor at Target one day and just like crying. It was just awful, and I was sweating all the time. My anxiety just was out of control. Well, I started on the meds, like I said, and I started feeling better at times, and then other medications. And there was this one medication that I told this lady that I had a really bad reaction to it one time. And she said, well, let's try it again. Let's see what happens. So we tried it again. It was the worst thing. Again, I had a terrible, terrible reaction to this medication. This medication about killed me. It took me, oh gosh, I can't even explain to you guys what this medication did for me. It was horrifying, horrible. It was a horrible medication. I didn't like any of it. I was really freaked out on this medication. The results were horrifying. So with that being said, I decided again to, I was like, I got to get off this medication. So my therapist then leaves. This woman that I had grown to trust, and I'm very funny who I talked to. So this woman who I had grown to trust, who I loved, who had made me start seeking help, who made me start feeling better, who made me start understanding myself, all of a sudden she left. Sorry guys, I'm not really that greasy, it's the lights, I promise. My skin is actually very good. She left, and all of a sudden, see, that's that ADHD in me, guys, I'm telling you. All of a sudden, I was with no therapist. So I decided I was going through all these chemical changes with this medication. I said, let me go to another facility and try to find another counselor. So I was supposed to see somebody, and I went in for an evaluation. They were like, oh no, this guy got to come in here now. They put me in with this guy, and all of a sudden, the 2 days before I was to see this guy, I got a call that they wanted to switch me to another person, to a woman named Kathy. And so I started seeing Kathy, and I have grown to love Kathy. Kathy's fabulous. She's wonderful. She's different than Mary. She's totally different. Her style is so different. Mary was more laid back and yo, what's up, cussing, funny like me, where Kathy's a little more laid back. She's the same way, but she doesn't cuss or anything, but she's just so brilliant, and I love talking to her. She makes me feel very comfortable and very relaxed. So I was glad that I found that therapist. But the first thing that Kathy said to me was about the medications I was on. She's like, honey, your body has been through hell in the past year with all these medications. You can't put yourself through this. This woman is giving you this medication, and then a month later she's changing it to this, or she's putting you on more of this and more of that. I was on these 2 medications at the time called Ziprasidone and Zoloft, and she was making me take them, and I was falling asleep at school. So I was getting sleepy all the time. I couldn't hold my eyes open. I was falling asleep all the time taking these medications. I didn't know what was going on. So right as school started, I was still seeing this woman, and I remember right as school started, I was the Zoloft was doing great, and she took me off of Zoloft and put me on something else, and it freaked me out, and I was like, nope, let's put me back on Zoloft. Zoloft makes me feel the best right now that I have felt. I want to be on that. So I went back to Zoloft. I basically begged her to put me back on Zoloft. So I was at school. I started getting really, really tired all the time. I could barely hold my eyes up, and everybody was noticing this. They didn't know what was going on. Again, I'm in this mental state, and they're all like, "What's wrong with Bradley?" You know, blah blah blah. So basically, I was at school one day and I wasn't feeling well, and I kind of dozed off, and my vice principal noticed, and so she basically said, "Why don't you, you know?" So before, let's back up. Let's back up before that. About a week before that, or about a couple days before that, I was feeling really bad. And I walked into school. My principal was like, "Are you feeling okay?" I'm like, "I guess so." And everybody, within like 15 minutes, everybody's talking about how bad I looked, how sick I looked. So I decided to go home, so I went home. That afternoon, I went to see Kathy, my therapist. She even mentioned it. She said, "I want you to leave now and go straight to the doctor." You know, because by this time, Kathy and I had decided I was going to quit seeing the lady that was giving me medication and start seeing an actual psychiatrist there at their facility to see what he had said and what he recommended and blah, blah, blah. She said, "But I want you to get healthy because it could just be that you're sick, and we don't want to put you on medications if you're sick." So I go to this hospital, to this doctor's care place, and find out that I have a sinus infection. I missed 2 days of work then. I returned to work on Monday of that week. I missed like Thursday or Friday. That's like a Wednesday. I returned to work on Monday, and I'm sniffling. I feel bad. My teacher said, "Why don't you go, you probably need to go home." So I go to my principal. She's like, "Yeah, go get tested for the big C word." I said, "Oh, God." So I was showing a lot of symptoms by this time of the big C. So I went straight to the doctor. I left school. I went straight to the doctor. They tested me for strep. It's the big C, which I'd already been tested for the big C the first time. Now you gotta understand, it's only 3 days of like 3 to 4 days apart, like this window. I'd already been tested for the big C the first time and strep. So they got one up my nose and one down my throat. That was the first time. Second time they tested me again for the big C, I was like, "Oh, crud." Well, luckily I didn't have the big C, but I did have a sinus infection, which is very rare for me because I've never had a sinus infection or had any problems with my sinuses. I ended up missing almost 5 days, so now I missed like 9 days, and this is only the first 2 weeks of school, guys. I was like, holy crap. I didn't really get sick, but I did stay home the days that they recommended just to get myself together because I still mentally wasn't, I was there, but I wasn't there. I needed a break. I'd had a lot. So I finally get in to see, and guys, I'm sorry if this video is long. I hope you're still with me because I really want you to stay and watch this video. So if you stayed with me all 17 minutes so far, I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to continue on. So basically, I returned to school after basically I've missed the second and third week of school, and so which are very important because you get to know your kids. So now I'm having to learn all the kids' names. I didn't know half of them because I hadn't seen them in almost 2 weeks. So a lot of change. I had to catch up. I had to get used to school. I had to go through all these changes, all these things, blah, blah, blah. So basically, I go back to school. I'm going good. I go see this doctor, this psychiatrist. He was awesome. He says, "We're going to take you off of this suppressor. You shouldn't be on this. This makes you incredibly sleepy." And that was what I was saying was the day that I went home the second time. That's why I was backing up. I fell asleep with my vice principal sitting in the classroom. She noticed. She's like, "You don't look like you feel well." And I went home. I was sent home because I was so exhausted. I was feeling so bad. Well, come to find out that the suprazodone was what was making me feel so bad and being so sleepy. This doctor, he said, "I don't know why you're on this. It's something you should not be on, and it does make you incredibly sleepy. That's what this medication does. It's not supposed to be on this. I want you to stop it immediately." I stopped it, and within 3 or 4 days after it cleared my system, I wasn't sleepy all day anymore. I wasn't falling asleep. I mean, guys, it was terrible. I couldn't hold my eyes open all day long, whether I was at Target, whether I was at school, whether I was the whole summer I spent battling this stuff when I was working summer school, because I did work summer school, guys. I did do that, and it was again battling this now this anxiety, this craziness. But by that time we'd stopped wearing masks, so once we stopped wearing masks, it wasn't as bad, but I still had this crazy anxiety. So anyway, I got off this suprazodone. That was such a good thing because I started living my life again. I started feeling better, started sleeping better, and that's where I ended up. So I decided then, I was like, okay, so I started really like going to see Catherine. I was taking her advice and Mary's advice. They both had said, "Bradley, one of the things you don't do is you don't make time for yourself. You got to have time for yourself." So I started doing me time. I started taking a day where I might go for a walk, or I started taking a day where I might, like last week, I went and saw Dear Evan Hansen, the film, which is one of my favorite Broadway shows. I'm doing little things once a week for myself, whether it's take a walk, watch a movie, listen to an audio book. I've been trying to take more me time, because that was one of the biggest things I think in my life that I was missing through all of this, was the me time. So as far as YouTube goes, by this time I was trying to do live streams. If you guys remember, I would do these videos. I would do like a video a week, or every so many weeks I'd do a video, or I would do a live stream. Well, when I would do these live streams, here I was, this guy that could host these live streams and have these wonderful videos and talk to people. My anxiety would kick in, and I would start thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? And if nobody was asking me questions or replying back, it would set my anxiety up. So I couldn't do these things. And so within like anywhere from 10, 15 minutes to an hour, I'm like signing off, because I'm freaking out mentally. I'm like, I can't do these live streams. I can't do them anymore. I'm sucking. This is terrible. I got so far away from my videos. So I decided to just leave YouTube at that time for a little while. I said, I can't do this mentally. Waff, stop, girl. That's Waffle's barking, guys. She's growling at the dog, at the other cat on the outside of the door. So I do have a kitten, guys. You guys remember I got a kitten. Anyway, long story short, or short story long, welcome to the novel. I decided to leave YouTube for a little while until I was kind of under control with what I was going through. I made a video and explained my condition that I was in and where I was at and all of that stuff. And so with that being said, I wanted people to understand I had not abandoned people. But of course I've lost a lot of followers, I lost a lot of viewers, because I've been out of the loop. And on YouTube you got to kind of stay relevant. So I know that I have to start over, I have to build over. But I've decided, I had a long talk with Catherine on Wednesday, with Kathy, excuse me. And Kathy and I talked about my YouTube channel and about all of the stuff that it was about and what I had wanted to be and where I had become. And she thought that YouTube was a great way for me to express myself, to do what I wanted to do, but to really go back to my channel being what I wanted it to be and not be so afraid of it. I'm not afraid of my past. I'm not afraid of what happened to me. I was just afraid of people using it against me. But now I don't care. I want people to understand. I want to help people. I wanted to make my videos positive. I wanted to be positive, and I was all of these things. I've always tried to be positive, but I couldn't show any negativity because I was so afraid of what would happen, how my viewers would look at me if I started being negative, or all of a sudden start talking about what I had been through, how they would react. Well, Kathy told me, she's like, people watched you because they wanted to watch you. They wanted to know you. They wanted to learn about you. They wanted to see what you've been through. They wanted to understand. And, maybe you might inspire somebody, or maybe you could help someone. And so she really encouraged me to come back to YouTube and to be here, because she said just talking about YouTube, she saw how happy it made me and how it was such a happy moment. And it was my happy place. And, one of the things I was trying to do was find things that made me happy. But you guys, just coming into my studio, which is a mess in real life. I wish you guys could see how bad it is. It's horrible right now. My studio, just coming in here to sit down and make a video would set my anxiety off crazy. I couldn't do it. I was just so freaked out. All the videos you guys saw of me talking about my mental depression, or anything you guys saw recently, it would take me forever to sit here and build up to make that video. So anyway, I said I'm coming back on October 1st. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to tell y'all I'm sorry for not, for abandoning you, for making you feel like I wasn't here. But I'm here now. I'm going to try to do Vlogtober. I can't promise I'll do every day, because that's my life isn't always that interesting. But I'm going to try to make a video every day at least. I'll try to live stream some. If my anxiety gets too much, guys, maybe we can talk about it. But I'm going to go to where I want my channel to be with what Kathy was saying. I do want to talk about things. I want to let people know what I've been through. I want to put my life out there. And I want people to understand that I lived the life I lived because I had to learn from it. And I've learned from it. When my dad died, for those who don't know, have not watched me, when my dad did die on Easter Sunday, that again was another factor that set my anxiety off. So there's just a lot, but I miss my dad. I now have, my brother's gone, my mom is gone, my dad is gone. I don't speak to my siblings, so I'm kind of a loner. I do speak to my one sister, but not often. She only calls me when she wants something. But so I'm kind of a loner. Holidays are rough right now because I don't really have any anybody to be around. But I do have a friend. I met a friend at work who I found out is my cousin, and so I'll of course probably go to Shannon Rose's house for Thanksgiving because I went last year. And honestly, Sean, I know if you watch this video, that was one of the best Thanksgivings I've had in a long time. Was just being there with Sean and his family, and it was just such a great experience. With Sean and his family and his husband and some friends that were there. Just a nice experience. But anyway, guys, that's where I've been. That's what's gone on. I want to return to YouTube. I want to start making videos again. I'm also going to return to TikTok. I'm going to start making some TikToks. Not as many. If you guys want to see great TikToks, check out Shannon Rose and Huggy Bear. Now, they do amazing TikToks. I'm not a big TikToker yet, but I do plan to make some and come back to TikTok. So you guys can check me out on TikTok. I still have merchandise for sale if you want to get some. But we're going to start over. We're going to start fresh. Hello, my name is Bradley. I'm here. I love you. If I have formed a friendship with you outside of YouTube, thank you for being there. Thank you for understanding. I love you so much. There's so many people I've met. I miss some of you. I miss Nicole. I miss working, talking to her. I miss Marley. I miss Carol, Sharon, Shelby, Captain Beardface, and Joy, Doug, Fairchild, Sharon, Tammy Minda, all of the wonderful people I talk to all the time. Allison over in England. I love you, Allie. Allie is one of my favorite people to this day on earth. I just love that woman. All of the channels I was watching, Wendy Bendy Boo, all of these amazing people that I loved and watched your channels. The Purple and Blue TV, all my new friends I had met along the way that I've just met some channels like Shonda's Corner, those kind of people. Angel's Army, I love Angel. All of these wonderful people. I'm sorry if I disappeared on you. I'm sorry if I felt I just left. Sugar Cane, I loved her. All of you guys just understand that I had to do what I had to do. I had to make myself better. But I'm here. I'm going to do Vlogtober. I'm going to see how it goes. And I want you guys to understand that I do love you guys, and I will be back. And thank you for understanding. Get the word out. Tell people about it. But understand that always deal with yourself first. I'm so glad I got help with my anxiety. I'm glad that the pandemic set it off, and no one will ever understand what the pandemic did to me. I don't think anybody alive understands how bad I took that pandemic. But with that being said, guys, I'm so much better and in such a better place right now. But before I leave, let me explain what happened. The doctor, I meant to tell you, he took me off the suppressant. So I get trapped on things. He took me off the Suppressant, and he wanted to put me on a thing called Adderall. Well, I tried to get the Adderall, and because there has not been technically a diagnosis, because the other lady did not put it in my records that I have ADHD, I have to wait for the doctor. They won't give me Adderall. So my insurance company will not cover it. So it's like $100, $140, which I don't have, to get monthly. So Kathy's helping me with my doctor right now to get me, he's going to put an actual diagnosis of ADHD so that I'll be able to get Adderall in a couple of weeks and see how that makes me feel as far as focus goes and the ADHD and things like that. Hopefully it'll make me feel better. Hopefully it'll give me some energy, because what was happening was I was just feeling unmotivated. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to clean my house. That's why I said my studio's a mess. I was really struggling to just sometimes to get out of bed. Waffles, Alyssa Edwards, Trixie Mattel, what's going on with you? I was struggling to get out of bed. I was just really freaking out. I was really having a rough time, and so the doctor hopes that this Adderall will help me a little bit with that. I'll keep you posted on that. I've kept you guys almost 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I told you this would be a long video. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please comment. Please, guys, let me know you love me. Write me letters. I've still got my post office box. I would love cards. Really make my day. I love to have cards and show them off. If you would love to send me a card, my birthday is coming up next month. But anyway, if you just want to write me a card or write me a letter, I would love to read it online. I was loving that when people were sending me cards and letters, so please feel free to do that. That would make my day so much better and so much brighter to receive mail from people. So I love you guys. Thank you for coming to TPG's World. It is truly my vida loca, but it's my vida loca. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Remember, hating is a disease, and some folks need to get well soon. And in this big old gigantic world where we can be anything, please be kind. Just be kind. And if you're out there, Trisha, awesome hooker, I love you and I miss you too, and I hope that you'll come back to YouTube soon. Alright guys, I love you. Debbie Davis, I love you. Tracy, I love you. All of you out there, I love each and every one of you. Bye.